Founders who feel like delegation never actually lightens the load, this one's for you. I'm Mark Scala, Amazon bestselling author and fractional CMO and COO. I help founders build systems at scale so that you can grow revenue, regain control, and get your life back. If that sounds like what you're chasing, give the video a like and hit follow. And if you're ready to talk about fixing your structure for real, hit the link in my bio and book a clarity call. So let's talk about delegation, one of the most misunderstood skills in business. Everyone says that they delegate, but very few do it effectively. Because what most founders call delegation isn't really delegation at all. It's dumping. You hand off a task, hope it goes well, and then boomerangs right back to your desk when it's not done exactly how you wanted it. So what happens? You take it back, you redo it yourself, you decide that no one cares as much as I do, or no one can do it like I can. Any of this sound familiar? That's not delegation failure, that's delegation confusion. And it's the reason so many founders stay trapped as the bottleneck in their own business. True delegation is not about offboarding tasks. It's about transferring ownership, both responsibility and authority, so that the outcome can succeed without your intervention. When delegation fails, it almost always breaks down in one of three ways. The first is vague expectations. You assume the person knows what good looks like, but they don't. You think you were clear, but what you actually gave them was maybe a half-formed thought, wrapped in urgency. So off they go. They guess at the target and they miss it. And you blame their performance instead of your communication. The second failure is limited authority. You ask someone to take ownership, but don't give them the decision rights to actually own it. They end up managing the task, but not the outcome. Every small choice still needs your approval. And that's not delegation, that's supervision with some extra steps in there. And the third failure is invisible feedback. You hand off the work, disappear for a week, and then reemerge to judge the final result. No check-ins, no coaching, just a pass-fail grade. That's not leadership. That's a trust exercise without a safety net. I see a lot of these all the time with founders who grew really fast. They built teams, they hired managers, and assumed the hard part was over. But inside their company, every path still ultimately leads back to them. They delegated tasks, but they never transferred trust. I remember a client told me, I delegated everything, but somehow I'm still the one making all the final calls. I asked to see her approval process. She had to sign off on everything from payroll to ad copy. And that's not delegation, that's dependency disguised as diligence. Why do smart founders fall into this trap? Well, because letting go feels like losing control. And when you've built something from scratch, control feels sacred. You think if I'm not involved, it's going to fall apart. But the truth is, if it can't work without you, it's already broken. Delegation is supposed to buy you time, not cost it. But without structure, every handoff becomes a handover, a temporary escape that circles right back to your inbox. If delegation isn't working for you, it's not because your team isn't capable, it's because your system for delegation doesn't exist yet. Delegation isn't an instinct, it's an infrastructure. And like any infrastructure, it needs design. But the good news is that you can design it. The same way you document marketing campaigns or customer journeys, you can document how decisions get made and how ownership flows. And that's the real fix. But first, you have to reframe how you think about delegation. It's not getting something off your plate, it's building capacity into the business. Every successful handoff should create a new leader, not just relieve the old one. When you get delegation right, you multiply your capacity. When you get it wrong, you multiply your confusion. And if you've ever said, it's faster if I just do it myself, that's your sign you're delegating tasks, not outcomes. Because true delegation might take longer the first time, but it pays you back forever. The difference between renting time and owning leverage. I worked with a founder who was drowning in approvals. Nothing moved without his signature. He hired assistants, project managers, an operations director, and his workload never changed. It never went down. And the reason was simple. He was delegating execution, but keeping the decision making. So everyone waited on him before moving forward. Once we built a clear decision framework, who owns what defines success, when to escalate, what done really looks like, his entire week changed. Within 2 months, he cut 45% of his meetings, and he never touched a project management board ever again. His revenue grew faster, stress went down, not just for him, but in the organization. And he told me, this is the first time I've ever felt like the CEO and not just a supervisor. And that is the real power of delegation. It doesn't just move work off your plate, it moves growth forward without you pulling it. So, how do you fix your delegation once and for all? It starts with a system, not another motivational quote about letting go. If you don't build framework for delegation, you're going to keep defaulting to chaos, no matter how good your intentions are. I've got you. Here's a simple 3-step system that works every time. Step 1, delegate outcomes, not tasks. When you delegate a task, you're just assigning a to-do list. When you delegate an outcome, you're empowering someone to deliver a result. And that means instead of saying, write this email campaign, you say, own the campaign performance for this product launch. Here's what success looks like. You're giving direction, not dictation. Define the result, define the metrics, and then step back. If they don't know what success looks like, they'll never hit it. And if you don't trust them with outcomes, you're going to never stop being the bottleneck. Step 2, establish a decision framework. This is where most founders fail. They delegate ownership, but not authority. Your team can't move forward if they don't know how to decide. And the best fix is a simple decision framework built around 3 questions. What decisions can you make alone? What decisions require my input? And what decisions do we make together? When you define these up front, you remove uncertainty before it even starts. And you also give your team permission to act confidently inside clear boundaries. And that is what unlocks momentum. You'd be amazed at how much faster things move when you stop making everyone ask for permission to think. And step 3 is create feedback loops, not check-ins. A check-in is relative. It's you showing up to make sure they did the work. A feedback loop is proactive. It's the system showing you the data automatically. And this could be a weekly report, a short summary email, or a quick dashboard update. The point is, you shouldn't have to chase progress. Progress should report itself. When the information flows back to you automatically, you can lead from clarity instead of anxiety. These 3 steps, outcomes, decisions, and feedback, create a delegation engine that scales. It's the infrastructure behind every business that grows without burning its founder to the ground. Funny thing about delegation is that most founders think they're bad at it. But what they're actually bad at is architecture. They've been trying to delegate in a vacuum, without framework, no context, no clarity, and then they wonder why it doesn't stick. Delegation doesn't fail because you're a control freak. It fails because the structure isn't strong enough to hold what you're trying to give away. And once you fix that, then everything else changes. You start to trust again, your team starts to think again, and your business finally starts to move again. I had a client in the construction industry who had been in business for almost 20 years. He had 70 employees and was approving every bid, every PO, and every client proposal. When he went on vacation, work literally stopped. He told me, I don't know how to fix this. Every time I try and delegate, something blows up. So we built a delegation system around those 3 steps: outcomes, decisions, and feedback. And within 6 months, he removed himself from 80% of daily operations. He went from 60 hours a week down to 40. Revenue, it grew more than 10% because projects stopped bottlenecking around him. And when I asked what changed, she said, I stopped delegating tasks and I started delegating trust. That's what real delegation does. It doesn't just free your time, it grows your team and it creates leaders instead of just helpers. It builds a company that runs on systems instead of supervision. And this is exactly what I talk about in my book, The Leverage Point. Because delegation isn't about giving things away. It's about designing a business that can carry more without you carrying it. The book walks you through how to document your processes, how to define decision frameworks, and how to train your team to own outcomes. It's not theory, it's the real system that moves you from being the doer to being the designer. And here's the takeaway: stop treating delegation like it's a handoff and start treating it like it's a design. If you're still saying it's faster if I do it myself, you don't have a people problem. You have a system problem. Delegation isn't the art of letting go. It's the science of building leverage. And once you get it right, you realize your business doesn't just need your leadership, it needs your absence in the right places. Once again, I'm Mark Scala. I help founders build systems that scale so that you can grow your revenue, regain control, and get your life back. If this resonated, like the video, hit follow, share it with another founder who's trapped doing too much also. And if you're ready to design a business that can finally run without you, grab a copy of my book, The Leverage Point, or book a clarity call using the link in my bio. Because leadership isn't proven by how much you do, it's proven by how much gets done without you.